Bumabati tayo sa ating barbero, si Bar, na pinapaalala sa atin to include more documentaries in our discussion, no? Para makita nila yung visuals ng ating sinasabi. So we have a second item here showing an American, the top American general saying that they have all these hundreds of bases in the world and so on. So i-roll natin yung second download natin at hear it from the horse's mouth, how U.S. aggression, what U.S. aggression really means. You know?
The United States military is sending hundreds more troops to join the 4,000 already in West Africa, helping to tackle the Ebola crisis. Speaking on Wednesday, the Chief of Staff for the first time revealed the full extent of America's global military presence around the world, saying it has troops stationed in 150 countries. That is 3/4 of all countries. Here's Guy Chichikan.
To combat the Ebola crisis, the U.S. has recently deployed troops into Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Senegal. To combat ISIS, the U.S. has returned forces to Iraq. As different crises unfold in the world, the U.S. military expands its reach. Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army General Raymond Odierno described it as dynamic times of change and spoke to just how spread out the U.S. military has become.
Today, we have more than 225,000 soldiers directly supporting and training to support combatant commanders in over 150 countries worldwide. And we have nearly 60,000 additional soldiers deployed to meet current contingency requirements.
General Odierno also described an army that is engaged on 6 continents. The U.S. has over 600 bases in 38 countries around the world. To all the bases in the Pacific and in Europe and in the Gulf, the U.S. has added new ones in Africa, in countries like Nigeria and Djibouti, from where it's flying drones. When responding to a crisis, the U.S. is quick to commit forces, but it seems to be really slow at getting them out. Regardless of how the crisis develops, once it sets up a presence, the U.S. just does not hurry to pack and leave. In Washington, I'm Guy Chichikan, RT.
At salamat sa Russia Today, kasi binibigay ng Russia Today ng libre yung kanyang mga materials. So again, the question sa mga kabansa nating Pilipino, sino ba talagang aggressor sa mundong ito? Maging malinaw tayo dyan. And let us make this important point. Kaya ang Pilipinas hindi makapagsulong sa kabuhayan niya because tayo talaga ay hinaharangan ng Estados Unidos through its institutions. Control ni World Bank, IMF, etc. Yang kuryente natin, World Bank IMF project yan noong year 2000, 2001. Nakakalimutan yan. Okay, let's go to Nutfield. So, now, nare-revive, mabuti naman, and thanks to Jennifer Laudes sacrifice, intentional or not, na-revive na itong issue. Palagay mo ba magiging mas epektibo ngayon ang kampanya laban dito sa presence ng basis of our insecurity?
Palagay ko, dapat Kaya lang itong mainstream media, yun nga ginagamit yung transgender Imbis na Filipino citizen murdered by a trained American assassin, ang pinapalabas nila, transgender killing. Pinabababaw nila yung usapin. Ngayon, dapat malaman ng ating mga kababayan na pinabagsak ng mga Amerikano si Marcos sa kanyang pagtatangka na magkaroon ng Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Sapagkat itong Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, hindi lamang magpapababa ng presyo ng ating kuryente, kundi magbibigay sa ating military ng capability to have nuclear weapons. So nakita ito ng mga Amerikano, kaya pinabagsak si Marcos. Bukod dun sa kanyang paggawa ng ang bagong lipunan notes na covered ng merong backup ng gold. And so many other things, katulad ng 11 major industrial projects. So ang gusto ng Amerika, panatiliin ng Pilipinas na de-industrialized. Hindi tayo industrialized country, tayo umaasa lamang sa importation. Pagkatapos lahat ng mga sundalo na nandito, at nandyan sa Bangsamoro ngayon, katulad ng ginawa nila sa Kosovo, nagpapanggap na peacekeepers, pero pag nagdeklara ng independence ang Bangsamoro, yung mga American soldiers na yan, ang magpre-prevent sa Armed Forces of the Philippines na makapasok sa Bangsamoro area. At kaagad, ire-recognize ng Amerika ang independence ng Bangsamoro. At yan nakikita natin sa kanilang move, na itong mga pro-American NGOs, pinopondohan ng National Endowment for Democracy, nagsusulong ng federalism, no? Para magkaroon ng Republic of Region 1, Region 2, katulad ng ginawa sa Yugoslavia, na magkawatak-watak dahil mas madaling kontrolin ang isang bansa na maliit kaysa sa isang bansang malaki. At makita natin sa Bangsamoro, yung uranium, binabanggit yung uranium. Merong special mention. Bakit? Meron talagang uranium dyan sa Ligwasan, Mars. Merong natural gas, merong oil sa Sulusi. At yan, gustong kontrolin ng Amerika yan, Mindanao, Sulu, and Palawan. At yung lahat ng ating mga mina, lahat ng ating mga oil and natural gas, kontrolado ng Amerika. So, Amerika ang nagnanakaw ng ating yaman, hindi China. Ngayon pa man ay ginagawa nila yan. Maging nung 1898 hanggang ngayon, ginagawa nila yan.
Bono.
Yeah, the answer to all that, Ferdi, is the leader who espouses these views. Because without that leader, will reach the next century and nothing will happen to this country. If we rely on PECOS and the electoral process, nothing will happen. We're not saying that throw away PECOS, throw away the electoral process. What we're saying is there should be a period in transition for the people to see how good is the leader in installing these various ideas, these various institutions, these various projects that will champion the Filipino in his own country and will champion the Philippines. Why should we be listening to the dictation of other people? As I was telling them, assuming, no, I don't like to presume that I'd be the leader, but if I were the leader, I'll do something which will surprise the world. You know, Argentina and Brazil under Lula suspended the payment of their external debt. I'll do something more than that here. If I were the leader of this country, I will not only suspend the payment of the external debt, I'll file plunder cases in our jurisdiction against these lenders and these borrowers who have been plundering this country since the very beginning.
Ecuador, under Korea, also did that. No?
Yes,
Ginawa ng
it can be
Ecuador
done.
no?
And if we have a leader of that kind, it will be done. You see?
Ngayon, sa ating politikang nakikita, wala tayong nakikitang tumitindig na nagsasabi nitong mga to dahil yung nga kanina, usapan natin wala pang nagdadahas na hamunin ng Estados Unidos dito sa Pilipinas. Tayo ba ay pwedeng maging katanggap-tanggap na alternatibo? Hindi naman ilalabas sa malalaking media.
Hindi, dito lang tayo, pero Mentong, I realize this, no? Whenever I go to the malls now, where before the recognition only comes from the older people, now the younger elements recognize me in the malls. It's because of GNN, your program, Eric's and Ray's program.
I hope I don't get recognized in public because they think I'm Antonio Tiu.
No. You're handsomer than Antonio Tiu. What's the matter with you?
Pero yung pagkakaisa ng bayan ang pinakamahalaga at hindi pa natin mabuo yung pagkakaisa. Ever since Marcos fell, ang media natin, ang tinatayong bandera ay yung dilaw na bandera at yun lang nakikita ng taong bayan.
Mentong, no? I mentioned Gamal Abdel Nasser, but we have a friend in the audience who comes from Yugoslavia. And I was also thinking of a leader like Joseph Broz Tito.
Maybe
Tito,
we can focus on pwede mong i-focus yung friend natin from former Yugoslavia.
You know, Tito made Yugoslavia into a united country.
There is.
Mr. Milan Adzik from Yugoslavia.
Okay. So
we need a leader like him in this country.
Yes.
Who can defy foreign elements.
Yeah, but he was defeated by the U.S. eventually.
We know that.
Probably he was poisoned.
No, but probably defeated because he's in mainland Europe.
Did Yugoslavia break up after Joseph Tito
After
died already?
After the death of Tito.
After Tito.
They could not have done it when Tito was alive.
That's true. Never could have done it. But we're so far away from the United States of America. We are not a part of mainland Europe. We are an archipelago here in the Pacific, and we are as important as they are important in this part of the world.
We have the last 3 minutes, and let me bring up a controversial point. Even Joseph Tito needed the alliances and the balancing power of the Soviet Union at that time to fend off Western Europe and the United States. In the Philippines, because of the confused nature of the public mind about China, they cannot establish alliances, or even Russia or BRICS, India and so on, they cannot establish alliances that will neutralize U.S. power over our politics and our economic life. Di ba? Kailangan aminin natin sinong kalaban, sinong hindi, sinong pwedeng kakampi. Aminin natin, matuto tayong umamin na ang Estados Unidos ang kalaban, kaya yung pag-aalyansa sa China, Russia at iba pa, at na tulad na sinisimulan na sana ni Marcos noon, magawa natin ulit.
You know, Mintong, as I keep on emphasizing like a broken phonograph record, if we have a leader in this country who has brains in his balls and who champions all these thoughts that we have mentioned here, there can be better days for this country. And the people of this country will realize that the thoughts we are expressing here, the principles we are expressing here, are the principles that should be championed by our people. But it takes a leader to do that.
Well, uulit-ulitin lang natin ang mensahe para lalong maraming makarinig, and maybe something will arise from that. Before we end our show, let's hear from Natfiel and then back to our senior statesman, Bono Adasa.
I'd like to appeal to the Filipino people. The nation will rise and fall based on leadership. So we must put up a leadership, a government that will be for the people of the Philippines and not for the Americans. And let's do away, let's cast out these demons, these politicians, and the oligarchs that are backing them, and the United States that is backing them. They are just strong because the United States is backing them. But once we are able to have complete, total independence, then these people, I tell you, will just go away. They will be afraid of the people because the people either will send them to jail or will send them to hell.
Okay, Bono, you can wrap up our discussion.
Yeah, I can wrap up this discussion.
So what is the answer to our basis of insecurity?
The answer to our basis of insecurity precisely is the leader and our people. And I'd like to recite to you a poem which, though authored by an American, but very apropos to our present situation. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Not gold, but only man can make a people great and strong. Men who for truth and honor's sake stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who work while others sleep, who dare while others shy. They build the nation's pillars deep and left them to the sky. The leader and our people will likely do that in time.
So with that very eloquent advice from our senior statesman here, kami nagpapasalamat sa inyo, and let's ponder upon these issues and hope that from this nation will rise a new leadership. Mabuhay and have a good weekend.